Okay, it says I got an excellent connection. Everything looks like it's working. I've been having technical difficulties today, and they've been, well, I guess fortune has nothing to do with it, but they've been unfortunate. They've absolutely been unfortunate. My desk, all around the camera area, is even more of a mess than normal. So give me just a second to make sure everything really is in working order here, and then we'll get started with today's stream. So I apologize, and it's an early stream too. It's an absolutely early-dirly stream. I don't know what early-dirly means, but it is. So I'm going to mute myself. Enjoy your Space Church music. This comes from Endless Space's soundtrack. It's a great game, great soundtrack. I'm not being paid for that. It's just the facts. Alright, let's get this party going. I don't really like how the camera's positioned, but we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna live. So, the reason I got this stack of books with brand on top is I've been catching up on my reading. Finally, it's only been I had like books from like 2 months ago just sitting here waiting for me to read them. Don't know why. In fact, I got books that are older than that in a short box down there. I'm going to get through all that stuff this week. This is the one I was reading last. You can see I marked my place with one of those little sticky flags. The art and brand is absolutely fantastic. It just looks gorgeous. And I'd lost my hype, man. I got it in the mail, and I absolutely just lost my hype for the book. And now that I've started reading it, my hype is back. I just kind of had to stop reading it because it was the middle of the night, and I needed to go to bed. So I'll come back to that and finish reading it some more. I got a stack of books right over here that I'm gonna try to read this week. This is all stuff I want to talk about. So whether that means we have one big stream, or not stream, one big video where I like try to wrap up some of this stuff, or if I go independent. And I found out I didn't have Justice League Dark 24. My shop never got it in, so I actually bought that today. We'll get to that in a second. So I read this one without reading 24, and I was very confused. And of course, the Allegiance art books. And then this one. This is an interesting one, and it's its own thing. So anyway, this is all stuff I gotta do reviews of. I'm just gonna set it in the floor so it'll get forgotten, and I'll never pick it up again. All right. Plus, I got stuff over here. Like, these are things I've got to read, but these are lower priority than the other things I got to read. Because like White Ash, I need issue 4, I think, before I can read 5 and 6. So that one might just kind of sit there forever. This detective, when I got home and I looked at it, I think I might already own this one. These are, okay, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. I am jumping way ahead of myself. I go to Graham Cracker Comics on Wednesdays. On Wednesday, aka New Comic Book Day, when you go to Graham Crackers, you get 3 books out of the 50-cent bin for free. And today, they were all Detective Comics. I got 641, I got 639, and I got 638. Now, I thought maybe I had that 641 right here, but I just looked right before this video in my stack of books I got to put away down on the floor, and I have 640, not 641. So maybe I don't own that one already. Maybe I do. If I do, hey, that just means I got a book I can give as a present to somebody, which is always fun. You know, just surprise somebody. Here's comic. You know, one thing, I've been complaining about the art style. Let me get that out of the way. The art style in this book, right? If you've seen any of my reviews of The Adventures Continue 1 through 3, I think I did review 3. Anyway, if you've seen any of my reviews, you'll know I was making fun of the art in here. I was like, this doesn't fit the model sheets for the animated series. Well, it turns out I've been watching a couple episodes of the last season, the one that they produced for the WB channel, right? And that Catwoman is on model for that iteration of the show. So my complaints are, I guess, a little unfounded, but the art is a little too simplified too. I mean, when your art is less detailed than the cel-shaded animation produced at 12 frames per second, maybe you need to go back and do a little stuff to your art. Like in the cartoon, there'd be like some kind of airbrushed effect in the background, like just crazy stuff like that. None of that here. Also, is that Azrael kidnapping Catwoman? Why is Azrael kidnapping Catwoman? Anybody know? I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I read the book, but that seems a little crazy to me. I like the sound effect font. I don't know that I like that sound effect text. Char? It's water, like, splashing out. Shouldn't it be like splash or kasploosh or something like... When you... When you start nitpicking the sound effects, you know you're too invested in what's going on in the book. I do like the font, though. It's a good font. Probably a Blambot font. I should go look at their font selection. If you're going to get fonts for comic books, and you're going to get them published like this, you know, by a real publisher, be sure to pay for your fonts. There's a lot of fonts out there that are for free. And I have accidentally used fonts that I thought were free. And it turns out that they're not actually free. They're just basically pirated on a website. But the website said the font was free, which is a total shame, a total bummeroony. Now, a lot of that stuff, you know, is free for use. If it's a Blambot font, you know, like there's a dozen fonts that they have that are free for use. For like a small independent creator, you can just use them, and you're cool. In fact, if you've seen those silly comics I've made for promoting the Rags Kickstarter, you'll have seen me use like Anime Ace, I think is the font I use. Hold on, let me pull one of those up. Dropbox. There's my Dropbox, and here we go. Oh my gosh, why is the photo app so dang slow? I just told you to open up a 2 megabyte PNG. I didn't tell you to open up like the entire Library of Congress. Why will you not display? Hey, Eli Easy. Yeah, we are super early today. Super duper early, if you will. Okay, let's try a different one. And I am apparently I've been having weird computer problems today. Oh, hey, there we go. So, I was just talking about like fonts and how I like this font. And then I went off on a rant about making sure you pay for your fonts if you're a comic book creator or whatever. Like you can see here, I'm totally using a Blambot font. But it's one that they give for free for use in small comic productions. And since I'm not selling this comic, it will never be, you know, published anywhere. I feel that this is within the use of the license that they gave me. If they disagree, they can let me know and I will delete this off of Twitter. Absolutely. But, you know, I made like some of these stupid little comics to promote the Rags Kickstarter, which was a blazing success. Should have been a bigger success, but Brian doesn't believe in success. I don't know why, but I really liked this. This stupid comic. Like, this is probably my favorite one that I've made. It's all non sequitur. And I have a very soft spot. There are two kinds of humor that I have a big soft spot for that I will laugh at even when nobody else is. One is the humor of awkwardness, like Bobby Lee. I will laugh at that because it makes you uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't like that. Laughter is my response to it, and because I'm laughing at it, I must like it. That's kind of how I'm thinking. Anyway, and then the other is the humor of non sequitur. So, like a lot of cake songs, man. I love those because they're like a string of non sequiturs all in a row. And that's all this comic is it's just a non sequitur of, hi, I'm Mad Maury. I have an elephant hat. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. Here's the message by Rags. It's a cool comic. And then here's a reference, and then another reference, and these are both non sequiturs based on the previous panels. I also get to, like, I started making these because I just wanted to make fun of certain certain big name comic book creators who have their artists repeat their art a lot. And Brian was just giving me these great facial expressions in his videos, and it's like, I have to use these. Like, how could I not use this? Look right here. Like, this is just calling to be used in a meme somewhere. He's got them crazy eyes, you know. Anyway, back to the actual comic books. Oh, good, the Elgato's still working. Part of the computer problems I was having was my Elgato was all like not one to cooperate. And, hey, Scott K, use Blambot for your comic? Absolutely. They have a lot of great fonts. I accidentally downloaded one, not from Blambot, but from a site that said all their fonts were like free and open source, or free to use for whatever, you know, like public domain. And it was Feast of Flesh, which is an absolutely amazing looking horror font. And I used that, and I didn't know it was theirs. And one day, I expect that they're going to hunt me down and beat me like a dog or something for using that. Please don't beat your dogs. People that beat up animals are terrible. But, you know, it's a saying. Not a good one, but it is. Yeah. They make absolutely fantastic fonts. I downloaded like all the free ones that I could use the other night. Because I was like, oh, I should get a font other than Anime Ace for these stupid comics. And it was all spawned by me going, boy, I like the way that font looks. From the gradient here, going across with the cool blue to match the water over here, to the way it the size changes. Like the letterer, I think, did a pretty good job on that panel. I wish I could say the same about some of the stuff by the artist. Oh man, Cobblepot looks great here in this close-up. He looks absolutely fantastic. A+ Penguin, my dude. Oh, I might have been using Anime Ace too. I was using one of them. It's a great looking pseudo handwritten font, absolutely. Your pull just ship. Your LCS didn't get Heavy Metal 300. You know, we're going to talk about stores not getting stuff here in a second, because I've been living that life, man. I've been absolutely living that life. You know, the way the last issue ended, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but hint, people died, was kind of a bummer. I know it's a zombie story, and you got to be used to stuff like that happening. But boy, I didn't want what happened to happen. And I guess since it's a month old now, I can start showing scenes from this next issue without spoiling it. Pro tip: it was an anti-life powered plastic man who looks absolutely horrifying. Oh my gosh, that is just ugh. I don't even want to look at that dude. Category people. Okay, so God, I was just in my YouTube settings. I get so paranoid sometimes. My store won't get anything, but meanwhile, I can still get it on Midtown. Definitely some shady stuff going on. Yeah. I believe it, man. I absolutely believe it. Let me let in just a little bit of light. I think it's a little dark in here, and I can pull this curtain open and then kind of do something like that to get us just a little more light without a big beam of direct light coming across. So I think that's a little better. It's certainly a little brighter in here, which is nice for me. Yeah, I absolutely can believe that there is some shady stuff going on in the comics world. Seems like every time I turn around, there's something shady going on. You know, I'm here for this. I'm here for like cool, crazy looking art, crazy concepts. Let's just flip this open to here. Trigon is coming to wipe it all away. Oh, great! Well, Dead Planet just got a lot soon to be deader. I don't want to read anymore because that was a big spoiler I just spoiled for myself by flipping through the book. So we're just going to sit you over here, buddy. We're going to sit you over here. You know, one of the funny things about collecting some of these True Believer books, and there were 3 this week, which is really nice, is some of these I own. Uncanny 221. I don't think I own that one. I don't think I own this book. But let's flip through this. Who's the artist on this? Let's find out. Mark Silvestri and Dan Green. Alright. Man, Sinister. That is a great first page for Sinister. One thing about a lot of this art, with the way they colored it, it looks pretty good on newsprint. But I really like how it comes across on crisp white paper. These colors just, they pop. They're like, you know, your eye. They're like candy for your eyeballs. Your eyeballs just kind of like start soaking in crazy oranges, brilliant reds, and it's just like, yeah, this is dope. You know, I don't necessarily like the way Sinister looks. I feel like the lines across his body are a little too straight. See, down here they're all straight, but up here they curve a little over his pecs, but this part of the human body isn't completely flat. You know what? I'm not going to start dissecting it. This is 30-year-old art. It's kind of silly to dissect that. Oh, man. There's some nice looking stuff in here. Everybody loves Wolverine, especially me. My mom even loves Wolverine. Like, that's what we're talking about here, man. Wolverine. Before he was everywhere, he was definitely super cool. Before he was overpoweredly powerful, he was super cool too. That's kind of a shame that Wolverine gets treated that way. What was it, like 10 years ago? Like they threw Wolverine in a vat of like molten steel or something, and his skeleton climbed out without any connective tissue. Like, come on, man. Come on. That is not how human bodies work. Even crazy mutant bodies. That's a little too much. But, you know, like Wolverine, like through Fatal Attractions and stuff, was all super cool because he wasn't completely immune to everything. I think Wolverine picks his outfits before he goes on. I think he just like grabs the next one on the rack, man. I don't think he thinks about it too much. He's just like, Charles, like, you know, somebody just comes in, they hang the brown outfit up, and he just grabs it and goes. He doesn't care. He's the Wolverine. With all the bullet holes his clothes must get, like, there's no point in getting attached to any outfit. Oh man, I really like this panel here. They are both in very exaggerated poses, and they're the ones in the foreground. The person who's not in an exaggerated pose is in the background. He needs to be in the shot, but he's not important to it. Oh! I love the look of exertion on her face right there. Brow furrowed, mouth kind of, it's not pursed, but she's like pressing her lips together, you know? That's good stuff. Absolutely good stuff. I look forward to reading that. I don't remember ordering this, but it ended up in my box anyway. So, you know, my shop man, if he puts something in my box, it's either because I ordered it or he thinks it's something I'm going to like. So I just go with it, man. I must have, like, checked the checkbox and been like, oh, ink blot sounds interesting. But looking at it now, I have no idea what it's about. Does it say on the back? No, we just got an ink blot. Is it like about a witch or something? It must be. It's pretty cool looking. Oh man, don't fall asleep in magical libraries. That's a bad idea. Take it from somebody who wanted to be a librarian in a previous life. Don't fall asleep in the library. For one thing, the librarian will find you. And then it's over. It's just over for you. For another thing, you know, this happens and suddenly you have a vortex and apparently a cat made out of, that's glowing, made out of the ink, I guess. Not really sure what's going on, but I'll check it out. Sorry, I know I got silent there. I was just looking at this alien book. I'm looking at whatever is on the cover here. That looks more like something you'd see on like the cover of The Thing, doesn't it? So I'm not really sure what to expect here, because the first issue was like, what if you took, and I did like a 4-minute review or something on it the other night, and it was kind of like, you know, what if you took Alien and you made all the characters unlikable? Like, that's Old school Psylocke. Love that blue suit for Dazzler. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said there, my dude. And I'm just kind of like, I recognize that this is the plot to Alien. And I don't like the character designs. I don't think I actually called that out in the video. I know I did when I bought the book and it was new. So I didn't like that. And I sure don't like the way the characters are interacting with each other. It doesn't have the chemistry, I think, that the movie did. And maybe that's just attributable to, you know, the actual movie cast and the direction and stuff. Why did I get muted? Hey, hello. Can you hear me? I just looked over in OBS. So, what happened is YouTube Studio here, my browser, refreshed itself. And then at the same time, the stream over here in OBS on the left side muted me. So I don't know how long I was talking and nobody could hear me. So let me go back to the beginning. I did a quick review of Alien, the original screenplay, #1. What was it? Like at midnight or something the other night. I might have posted it up in the morning. I don't remember. And it was a pretty quick review. It was like 4 minutes long. It's like, I like this book. I recognize that this is like doing a similar plot to Alien, which makes sense because it's the original screenplay. It's right in the name. And I liked the way the outside stuff, the outdoorsy things looked. But I did not like the way the characters were interacting with each other. I didn't like the designs too much. Like the lady with half the shaved head. Like, that's way too modern. Hey, Manny Shape. So, I'm just going to open this up, and we'll see if this looks like it's going to have better dialogue in it than the first issue did. Alright, right here. I was trying to find a double page spread, but I guess we won't get that. Hostile survival, advised, do not land. Drell, you can come down, we can... You know, I think that my problem with this book is just going to be the characters from the movie felt so meaty. Oh man, this is some really cool looking stuff. That sequence of 3 panels, this whole scene right here, this all looks good. I know there's like some weird glare and stuff. I got my curtains drawn, so I'm trying to minimize the glare, but I do have a little bit of light coming in on that window. I pulled the curtain open a little bit. Not exactly the best thing for looking at a horror book when there's a lot of glare coming through. It looks like somebody's getting face-huggered right here. I mean, come on, to be fair, this is a 30-year-old, 40-year-old story. Like, I think it's okay to kind of get spoiled a little bit. Let's look at the chat here. See, Manny said, "What up?" I think I said, "Hi." If not, I'm saying hi now. Yeah, easy. I'm not big into AVP, but I like the story. Hey, that's not an Alien vs. Predator comic anyway. It's just Alien. And it's supposed to be a horror book. I really dug the Alien 3 original screenplay thing that they did last year. I thought that was pretty cool. And you know what? Speaking of Alien vs. Predator, I am still unable to figure out or find out if we're ever going to see the last part of Blood is Thicker Than Water. Like, there should be, you know, 2 more issues, because we got 1 and 2, so we need 3 and 4, and we don't have them. We don't have them, and I don't think they're ever going to get published again. Also, guys, I got to step away from the computer for just a second. I have talked myself up to a gigantic thirst, so I'm going to slap this BRB up, and I will BRB after I get a drink of water. Alright, I'm back. And hey, Manny, if you're still out there, I saw you tweeting at Dave Cook, I think it was, earlier today. The guy that, not the guy, but one of the guys that works on Killtopia, which is a pretty cool book. I don't know if you've seen it. They've had a couple Kickstarters. Give me a second. I'll go see if I'll grab Killtopia off my shelf here. I thought it was just right here. Okay, there we go. It's a pretty cool book. Oh, I still got the BRB up. Durr. Killtopia was rad. Okay, so you've seen it, so I don't need to flip through this. I really like the setting. I'm a little less enamored with the art, because it feels like the art was drawn to a smaller scale and then blown up, and it gets fuzzy because of that. Or maybe it's part of something the printer did. But the text is all crisp, so I doubt it was the printer. That's really my only complaint about Killtopia, is just the way the art looks from that perspective. Otherwise, I kind of like it. It's got great neon acid visuals and stuff. Really cool looking. Let me plug my headset in. There we go. What else I got up here? Vampirella 13. Oh, the new arc in January. Did I ever get my Killtopia 2? I must have got my Killtopia 2. I remember reading it. But it's not on my bookshelf next to Killtopia 1. Anyway, him and that the artist he works with, like, it's a cool book. I'm glad I backed the first Killtopia. Geez, what, that was like spring of 2018 or something, man. That was a long time ago. They gotta ship that to me all the way from England, just like the Red Winter guy. I backed his, the first issue of Red Winter. I backed his Kickstarter for that, also in like the spring of 2018. And it cost me like, I don't know, $6 total. I'm pretty sure the shipping was like $6 to get it to me from England, man. There's no way he made any money on me. And I didn't like it. That was the worst part. I didn't like Red Winter #1. So I didn't back the follow-up campaigns. Then he got picked up by Scout Comics. And Scout opened their web store and they had like a sale. And I think that's how I got it. And I bought the whole run off of their sale. Yeah, it was probably more than $6 a ship. Yeah, it was expensive. I still got the postage stamp off the corner. It's in not my current notebook, but my old one, which I don't... Oh, there it is. Up there with my old cell phone. Let me just see if it says here. Man, this notebook has seen better days. Look at that corner. It's just been obliterated. Oh, hey, there's a... let me cover up people's addresses. Look at that. Prophesized Productions. Told you. I told you I was going to stick that in here. Let's see. There's one from a comic book from Germany. That was a cyberpunk book, but I'm forgetting the name. Advent Comics. No, I don't have the British postal cancel in here. I would have sworn I kept that postal cancel because it was British. I was like, oh, that's super cool, but I don't see it here. I got like everybody else's. Yeah, CJ Standall's business card. I got Terry Mayo's mailing address. Hey, there's Hangman Comics. I just mentioned Monsterella. But I don't have the cancel from the British book. Okay, well, anyway, I didn't like that book, Red Winter, the first issue. But what I did like, and this is going to sound stupid, was the whole story. The next 3 issues were like, whoa, this is cool. Because they kind of took all the nihilism and depression from the first issue and then channeled it somewhere really cool. It was like the greatest comeback story in comics. Let's see. Bet you're glad you're back. Monsterella #1. It's like an $80 to $100 book. Really? Monsterella? That's crazy. Dude, that's absolutely crazy. Let's see. I can't believe that book is worth that kind of money. Where's it at here? Let's see. There's Impact Comics, IDW, Hangman Comics should be right up here. Let's see. There's First Comics. Let's see. There's IDW's G.I. Joe books. I'm on the right track. Angel. Let's see if there's a self-published Scrimshaw. Here we go. I think this is #1. You're telling me that I could go on eBay and sell this thing for like $80? Really? That's absolutely crazy. It was like $20. Plus, that included shipping. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get comic collectors, man. It seems crazy to me, because if you ask me, that's not what that book costs. That book costs like $15. Or was this one #1? Whatever, I got #1 up here somewhere. I can't believe that book is worth anything. Do it? I don't sell my books. I'm too much of a pack rat, man. I had somebody offer to buy some of my V comics from me, and I was like, well, you can get them on eBay cheaper than I'd sell them to you for. Oh, anyway, let's open up Vampirella. Oh, good. I forgot. I can't just open this book up. Oh, we're doing the 2 artists thing again. So we have the regular artist, and then here on all the stuff that depends on the past. The other story is drawn by a different artist. So I kind of liked that in issue 12 when they were doing that. Your grief echoes across boundless space and time, Lilith, drawing me from the great void to you. So shall I punish thee throughout eternity. Man, what a jerk. An absolute jerk. This story, the Vampirella arc that's going on right now, 3 is worth some cash too. Dang. Has taken like super twists and turns, man. I don't know exactly where the story is going, but Christopher Priest keeps just moving us like along through. Well, at least we're not flashing back so much to like 2 weeks ago and then back to the present, back and forth. That was really confusing storytelling. But yeah. He's weaving a tight web of stuff, and I don't really know where it's leading. I don't have enough, I don't want to put it. I don't have enough Vampirella knowledge, like lore-wise, to really get it. Oh, this is cool. Hold on, I just opened it up towards the end here. I have no idea what's going on there, but that looks super cool. That looks awesome. We got here the True Believer book. Yeah. Contains material originally published in magazine form as Alpha Flight 11 and Marvel Comics Present number 51. Those books were published like a decade apart. So why is... Oh, dude. Great. We're going to kill Alpha Flight again, because that's what Marvel does. They just love killing Alpha Flight. Wow. This is some super intense, like, narration bubble, or thought bubbles from Wolverine here. Holy moly. Boy snapped. He's gone. Rage got the best of him. His old man learned to control it. Eventually, so did I. Kid never stood a chance. The way he looked last night, ain't no turning back now. Good times. Alright, I don't want to read too much of that because I don't think I've read those two pieces before. I actually think I own Alpha Flight 11 though. Haven't read it. It's in a box. I got it at no, it wasn't St. Vinny's. It was what's that other charity store? Wow, I'm blanking on the name. It's just right up the road from me too. It's like 10 minutes away. It's also a charity, like St. Vincent de Paul is. And I'm totally blanking on the name. They run like a hospice, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I totally got like some comics there one day because they had like the first dozen issues of Alpha Flight, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like Alpha Flight, but man, to get like the solid first 12 issues for like, you know, $1 a pop or whatever, and kind of give to charity, I went with it. I absolutely did. All right, this is from X Factor. I might actually own this one. Number 35. There's a good chance I own number 35. I haven't read it though. Or at least I should say I haven't read it in ages. I probably read it a long time ago because at some point I did like a deep dive into this stuff. But you know, that's been 15 or so years. I bought it at a yard sale. There's this family that they live not too far from me. They actually show up at conventions and stuff around here, Madison, running a table. And they had like a bunch of X-Force, a bunch of X-Factor, like just a whole bunch of stuff that was really cool. And I bought like all of it. Spent like $500 at a yard sale. Holy crap. Fortunately, I didn't have to pay cash. They had a Square, you know? So they just like swiped my card, and we were done. Alright, so all this stuff here, as cool as it is, was all stuff, okay, except the Batman, so let's take them out. All this stuff here was like stuff I was expecting to get. Okay, that one wasn't. Boy, my statement is getting weaker by the second. All this stuff here was stuff I was expecting to get. Like I had written down in my notebook that these things existed. My shop man, either I signed up for this or he just threw it in because he thought it was cool and figured I'd like it. I'm not sure. But this one, I didn't have that written down. I forgot that this was a thing. A lot of great $1 sales on Instagram. Yeah. I like shopping yard sales, man. I like to see the person I'm giving my money to. Unfortunately, this year, there haven't really been yard sales. I've seen like 2 yard sales. You know, the whole, as they say on the news, the unprecedented times in which we find ourselves. Like, that whole situation kind of makes yard selling tough. But I like yard sales. I like going to, there's a small convention here that's run out of the convention center, and that's downtown. And so it just takes place in like a banquet hall, and it's not too big. I like going there. I met, oh my gosh, Frank Fosco. Thank you, Brain. I met Frank Fosco there. That seems like a pretty nice guy. I actually have a page of his original art hung up on the wall. It's from a Superman Elseworld story, like an annual from 1994 or 5. And it's like, what if Superman was in the, like, the main character was like Mowgli and was in the Jungle Book. It was pretty cool. It's got Lois Lane in a pith helmet and stuff. Like, it looks great. The line work is amazing. You can see the whiteout, the tape, all the little detail stuff like that. It's like comic book education looking at that piece of original art. Super cool. Okay, I'll just check in the chat. So, Sea of Stars, man, I really like this. The alien people, whose names I'm forgetting now, that the kid is like the reincarnation of the god of. They all look like Zerum. If you've ever seen that old anime, they were all like the one that was stalking the main character. Totally like had the Zerum hat. I'm not seeing it here. I was going to show it to you, but I'm not seeing it. This book has like great, like emotional line art. The story of the dad looking for the kid is like tense. He's doing whatever it takes to survive, man. He should have been dead like 5 times over in the course of the first 5 issues, maybe more. Space looks weirdly spacey. I've been loving Sea of Stars, and I didn't know or I forgot that there was supposed to be an issue 6. So, pleasant surprise for me this week. Absolutely pleasant surprise. Less surprising, I was like, yo, I want to buy Justice League Dark 24 because I never got it. So I'm looking, I'm in Graham Crackers, I'm looking, there's not one. There's like 23, there's 25, but no 24. So I actually had to go to my other store. Which I haven't been to this year, I don't think. Westfield Comics. And I go in there, and both guys behind the counter, they go, been a while. Oh, true, boy, talk about putting me on the spot right there. Absolutely, just put me on the spot. That was a little bit brutal. But I got Justice League Dark 24. I've already read 25. And I was very confused while reading it. So now I can go kind of fill in on some of the stuff I was maybe confused about. Upside Down Man looks great, man. Every time this dude shows up, he's super creepy and disgusting looking. I love it. I love it. Alright, let me just set that aside. I'm not going to flip through this. I've already kind of spoiled the story for myself, but I'm going to approach that later. Oh, I never plugged my headset back in. And it's beeping after like 10 minutes unplugged. This battery is toast, man. The battery in this thing is dead. And while I was walking through Westfield, I saw Patriotic on the shelf. I bought this essentially just so maybe in the future I could kind of make fun of it. Because like it ends basically like with her getting ready to fight them, and ultimately it really feels like nothing happened. Like I've already read this. So maybe one day I'll like gently mock this or something. But I don't like the creators because they treated somebody dirty that they didn't need to treat dirty. And because of that, I'm not going to buy another one of their books, and I'm never going to back one of their Kickstarters. But I figured if I was going to do something and criticize them, I should have some skin in the game, as they like to say. Who the they are in that situation is, I'm not sure. Wow. The Patriotic is like really tall. It's weird. You can't see it, but yeah, you can barely like see the edge of the book. It's sticking out here. And these are all lined up on the bottom pretty well. I was kind of... Can I move this down so you get better? Yeah, see? It's like sticking out like 1/8 of an inch more than everybody else. I don't know what's up with that. That book speaks to a lot of people, at least the cover does. Yeah, I bet. And then at Westfield, they like to give you free stuff when you go in there. So I got like this little poster, which looks really cool. It's also apparently a checklist for stuff. He's like, hey, you want to check out this DC checklist? And I'm like, sure. Sure, hand her over, I'll take a look. So, I'm taking a look. Alright, I have taken a look. We can now set that aside. Mostly I was like, that's a pretty cool looking little poster deal right there. And the other thing I got, Westfield also, they always ask me, you want the comic shop news? And I always say, yes. So you think they would just know. But then again, it's also been 9 months or more since I've been in there, I think. So who can blame them for being a little skittish? Is this a trend? I think somebody commented on this on YouTube. It might have been, or not on YouTube, on Twitter. It might have been you, Manny Shape. I don't remember. But somebody was like, is this like the thing for comic book titles these days? To just be like a complete sentence? Atlantis wasn't built for tourists. We went out for donuts. Like, who knows? But look at all the love over here that Scout Comics is getting, man. They have a whole section dedicated for themselves. They are definitely up and coming. That's pretty cool for them. Seeing a small publisher getting that. It was in my Discord. Okay, there we go. I'm glad you could remember. I see so much stuff online every day. It's hard to keep all of it straight. But a small publisher like getting this much love in here, that says something. Because this isn't like you know, they're not DC, they're not Marvel. They don't just go and buy like, yo, we want you to talk about Shang-Chi, which I don't think anybody in the universe wants anyone to talk about Shang-Chi, because when was the last time he mattered in Marvel? Batman, the Joker Warzone #1, one-shot Joker War. I don't get one-shots, man. I absolutely don't. If you want to do that, no, I'm not gonna. Scout's coming up, definitely. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. If I go there, it's gonna turn into a rant. Ah, screw it, let's go there. So, one-shots don't make a lot of sense to me. I know financially they do because it's a #1. And people are like, oh man, look at that. Death metal, speed metal, #1. Oh, wow, it's a #1. It's a way to just print out #1s. Like, fine, whatever. But if you really want to do this, what you do is you have death metal be a weekly series for like 12 weeks in a row. So you have like Death Metal 1, then you have like the one shot, Death Metal 2, one shot. So you go like that. And you do it staccato, you number them all in the series. So you have Death Metal 1, then the one shot is like Death Metal 2, then Death Metal 3, then Death Metal 4. Those are all one shots. Then Death Metal 5 would have been Death Metal 2, like stuff like that. And just publish them all like that as one series, as one volume. That way people don't have to wonder, where does this story fit in? Does this story matter? Because turns out one shots don't really matter most of the time. That's a cool looking cover though with all the flashes. That definitely seems to tie in with what's going on like in Death Metal 3, which I still got to do a review of. And this is a really cool cover here. This definitely harkens back to like some Crisis stuff, which I just read and did a review of by request, what, 3 months ago or something. So you can check my thoughts on what the Infinite Crisis, or Crisis on Infinite Earth, I should be correct, was all about. But I definitely enjoyed it. Seeing all these characters, a lot of ones I knew, a lot of ones I don't know. That was a ton of fun, just watching the craziness unfold. And that looks like that might be a fun book. My shop man, I told him, just get me all the death metal stuff. He's like, okay. Because I wasn't sure it was going to be any good. Like, if I'm honest. Why? Why would you collect that? It's not even a complete story. Absolute Carnage is not a complete story. It wasn't even a complete event. It was the prologue for another event. And there's like 500 one-shots tying into it. So you got like the main Absolute Carnage miniseries, and then there was like Absolute Carnage, Carnage vs. Deadpool. That was like a 2-issue miniseries, and then the Scream stuff was like a 2-issue miniseries. It was like all these tie-ins, and you're still not telling a complete story. You're telling an incomplete story. That's just the prologue for what the real event was, which I don't even remember what the name of it was, but it was just basically the symbiote god Null showing up. That is some serious looking stuff right there. I guess that's the Parker Martini thing? I have no idea what any of that's about, but that looks pretty cool. And Frank Cho, because Frank Cho's Frank Cho. I like his little things he does. Dude, I actually really like this panel. That is pretty cool. Seeing him like using his martial prowess just to do something like kind of boringly prosaic, like that is actually kind of awesome. Although it doesn't really speak to me that he's the master of Kung Fu, but that's still pretty cool. I don't think the #1 things work anymore. It just creates more confusion. And then if they would have just left the legacy... Yes! You're right. I'm not a fan of reboots, multiple #1s, any of that kind of stuff. I'm also not a fan of a mini-series when you could just roll the issues of the mini into an ongoing. Like I was talking with the death metal stuff, like all those one-shots, they should just be part of the main mini-series. Just roll them in there. You're putting out one of those one-shots every week anyway. You might as well just make it Death Metal 2, or Death Metal 3, Death Metal 4, or you can like do some other weird numbering scheme. But just saying it's a one-shot kind of means, well, it probably doesn't matter, in my opinion. Spider-Man ran for 400 issues, and they never had issues. Oh, different issues. Okay. Sorry, the second issues is problems kind of issues. So I was misreading that wrong. Yeah, no, absolutely. Spider-Man, Amazing ran for 400 issues. Spectacular ran for like 300. Web ran for 200 something. I think. Maybe not for Web. But no one ever had trouble getting into Spider-Man. He was easily accessible. He was approachable. If you picked up a Spider-Man book, except maybe during the Clone Saga, you had a pretty good chance of understanding what was going on in it, like right away. You could just pick it up, flip it open, you get like a one-page I'm Spider-Man splash where he's looking super cool. Maybe he's looking out over the cityscape, Maybe he's looking down into an alley where somebody's about to get mugged. Maybe he's looking up at the moon or whatever. You get like a cool splash, you flip it open. There's some like 2 narration boxes there that pull you in. You flip it open, you get a rundown of what's going on, and then they just get to it. And they expect you. They go, you know what? We expect that since you're able to purchase this book and read words, that you can figure out what's going on. And if there's something weird going on, we'll be sure to drop you a reference to where that occurred so you can go find it and check it out for yourself. One of these books, that was actually something that happened in one of these books I read. Where did my read stack? 3 seconds on the floor. I'm forgetting which book it was in now. It might have been Death Metal. I don't remember. But there was a bit in there where it was like, see issue whatever, or better yet, make up your own story. I like that. Just kind of the smarminess of make up your own story. It's probably better than what we wrote anyway. It'd be number 378 or something. It'd be like part 1 of 4. Yeah. There are better ways to handle stuff, but comic books... I'm gonna say some things that may not be true, but this is kind of how my thoughts went. I've been mulling this over for a long time, and I've kind of said parts of this before. But the death of the comic book industry was the comic book store, the direct market. And now I hear you all, you're like screaming at me, no, Dr. Elizibar, PhD, you're wrong. Hear me out. Hear me out. In the direct market, it's much easier to do relaunches, reboots, renumberings, whatever you want to call it. In the direct market, it's much easier to sell miniseries. On the newsstand, newsstands love big numbers. A big number issue on a newsstand tells the reader, hey, this publication has been around for a long, long time. But as comic books abandon the newsstand and move more and more into the direct market, you start getting more and more weird, just absolutely... Let me adjust my microphone, sorry. There we go. You get more and more absolutely weird gimmicks. You start with like foil covers. Then you have like, oh, we're gonna do... I don't know, let me pick on a book that may or may not be true for. Oh, we got Youngblood number 1. We got Youngblood number 2. 4 months later, we're restarting the series. We got Youngblood number 1 again. That's not actually true for Youngblood, but I know one of the Image books did exactly that kind of thing. It had like a really short run, and then they started renumbering it again from number 1. I don't remember which Image book it was. And so you build up more and more gimmicks to sell books because you're competing with everybody else in this shop. On the newsstand, none of these antics would have flown. The newsstand guy would have been like, no, I want Spider-Man number 278. I don't want Spider-Man number 1. If kids see Spider-Man number 1, they're going to go, oh, that's weird. I thought we were on 277 last month when I bought this comic book. Was it Brigade that did that? Okay. Thank you, Eli Easy. You know so much, man. I'm so glad you're here in these streams, and I can rely on your brain to pull these cool facts out for me. Because I know that happened, I just couldn't remember. And I only know it happened because putting stuff in on CLZ, I'm like, wait a minute, I already own Brigade number 1. And then I look and I see, wait, there's another Brigade number 1, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. But in the direct market, they can get away with that because the shopkeeper is there. He knows what's up. You can ask him questions. He's going to push your books because they have weird gimmicks that are super cool. And it's an easy sell for him to go, look how super cool this is. It lets you jack the prices up enormously. So what went from being like a $1 comic, like if you go look at comic books from, say, right at the Image launch, you have like a Marvel book costs like $1 or $1.25. Image book is like $3. Who can afford that? Did that to Quasar, and they restarted issue 1, 2, and 3, and started getting 35, and it or 36, whatever. Oh man, don't do that to me. That hurts my head. I don't know. Oh, no wonder they quit publishing Quasar. After that, I'd be too ashamed to continue publishing the book. But they make it very complicated, and complication inhibits the ability for new people to come in and read things. So you may go, well, here is a number 1. It's a nice, easy place to jump into the series. But when I was a kid, I'd see, oh man, that's a cool looking Spider-Man book, and I pick it up. Turns out it's like Maximum Carnage Part 7 or whatever, right? I don't know what's going on, but the book itself helps you get up to speed on the crazy stuff going on in the book. So each issue, even though it's connected to a larger part of the story, Claremont's X-Men was fantastic for doing this. You had this great long serial soap opera drama, just like a real soap opera, man. It spanned, 20 years or whatever. But each issue you can pick up and read it, basically independent of knowing about any other issue's contents, and still understand for the most part, not perfectly, but for the most part, what's going on. So I kind of blame a lot of the woes on comic books on the publishers abandoning, giving up that direct market, or no, sorry, not the direct market, the newsstand market, the thing that helped keep them honest. And we must be losing our light a little bit, because I'm seeing like staticky fuzz in the video stream that indicates the camera is not getting enough light. So let me just hit us with some direct light here and let it adjust a little bit. It's still doing it some. It's because the angle of the sun outside has changed since I started this, and I'm not getting direct sun on my window anymore. There we go. That looks a little less staticky. Yeah, so I would say like that's kind of the core. Like you could not really fundamentally sell a lot of the miniseries stuff on newsstands, especially not like a 2-issue mini. Nobody's going to buy into that. You give them a 12-issue mini like Watchmen, they might go for that. You give them a 6-issue mini or whatever, they might go for that. But you got to remember, even Watchmen, they sent, I saw the numbers on probably Comic-Con. I don't remember. It might have been the Comic-Con guy talking about it on Twitter. But, Watchmen, they shipped out, 120,000 issues to newsstands. Had a 40% return rate. That means there's, 50,000 issues of Watchmen that were pulped. Just, boom, destroyed. That's how that industry works. And the direct market, they don't want to do that. Things aren't returnable. Publishers don't want to eat that cost. See how it slants everything kind of in their or in their favor in the power balance? And once you start doing that, you start losing that that what keeps you grounded, what keeps you in the day-to-day, like this is what our customer wants. You go talk to your newsstand distributor, he will tell you exactly what your customer wants. You talk to Diamond, Diamond's a monopoly. They don't care. Marvel could literally print a comic book that you open it up and it's just like poop smears on every page. And Diamond would still sell it. Especially if it was the number 1. In the old world of the 70s and 80s, that kind of behavior wouldn't fly. Your newsstand retailers would be like, we're not buying this trash. It's not selling. We're returning 90% of the copies to you. And you, the publisher, have to eat that. There's less accountability in the direct market world. One of the things that I think is kind of interesting about some of the moves DC has made getting away from just having one distributor, that's a win. I don't know that the market is necessarily big enough to support 3 separate distributors for comic books. It's not actually that big of a market. But competition is good. The only way things can get better is if you have multiple people struggling, striving, trying to get to be the top dog. But you get complications like this. My store never got me one of these. It just didn't come in. Justice League Dark never came in. Number 24 never came into my store. If it had, my shop dude would have given me one. I've been on this train since issue 1. But he never got one, so that means the new distributor screwed up. Which hurts sales, which hurts everybody. But those are growing pains. Maybe there's some intentional sabotage there. Since the distributors are also retailers, that's a very shady arrangement, and I'm surprised DC went for it. But I don't control that. I don't have any insight into the machinations of what AT&T corporate overlords are thinking. Let's see. Boom, Dynamite are using Kickstarter's distribution channel. Not just the distribution channel, they're also basically covering the cost of the print run of the mass market edition through their Kickstarter stuff. I remember seeing a Dynamite campaign for Vampirella Roses for the Dead, which is terrible. Don't read it. It's the worst, well, maybe not the worst comic book I've ever read, but it's an absolutely valueless comic book. And they did a Kickstarter. That Kickstarter raised enough money that they could pay the print costs for the run that went to stores. So I think I gotta couch this. There's a lot of weasel words around what I'm saying here, because this is a lot of stuff from my perspective, and I don't run a comic book publishing house. I see a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. I see numbers on Comic-Con. I see the way creators, retailers, distributors, publishers all interact with their customers. I see these things. I don't see the back end stuff. So a lot of what I know about the back end of this industry just comes from my time working in working in an actual bookstore. And Dave, who ran that bookstore, I learned a lot from him, having to order from like 200 different retailers, or not retailers, distributors, to stock stuff in our retail store. That's a crazy market, by the way. So what do I think about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and stuff? I think generally anything you can do to connect a fan. No, I'm saying this wrong. Anything you can do to connect a customer to a creator, to build a bond, is good for the industry. Now, that's true as long as the creator is cool. You have some people out there who are comic book creators who are not cool, who are just jerks. There's a lot of stories about John Byrne. I don't know if any of those are true. You probably don't want him to talk to your customers ever. Some creators rub some customers the wrong way, but other customers the right way, like Rob Liefeld. I really enjoy his antics on Twitter. Seeing him arguing about like NBA teams is an absolute hoot. And I understand a lot of people don't like him for those kind of antics. Also because of the penchant he has for like blocking people that tweeted him stuff like, "You should draw feet." But, and his book, his Brigade Kickstarter is a bad example because he still hasn't fulfilled the dang thing. But anything you can do to connect him to fans is good. Kickstarter helps do that. Kickstarter, with a lot of communication, is a great way to get fans invested in the book, invested in the people. So that as a platform is generally a good thing. And if you as the publisher can take money from, say, 300 people and print your comic book and pay for your print run of 5,000 copies based on the $300 or based on the money raised off of 300 people buying premium stuff, whether it's signatures or slip cases or whatever you're adding on to help drive prices up. If you can pay for all of your print run, or at least most of your print run from that, that makes your life as a publisher a lot easier. You can still ship that stuff to stores, and whatever you sell at the store becomes pure profit because you've already paid the expenses. It's a pretty genius thing. It has some downsides though. It can create a lot of bad will. If your campaign is exploitive, if it's handled poorly, that's going to create bad will. That's going to create a bad experience for the customer. Excuse me. And in particular, I've seen people talking about the Keanu Reeves Berserker thing, and it apparently has a Kickstarter. I haven't seen it, and I've seen a lot of people complaining that that's a ripoff. There you go. Berserker got hammered this week. I don't know how much chat lag is going on here from what I'm saying and what you're saying, so I'm going to assume we just said this simultaneously because that would be the coolest way to do it. A lot of people have been saying that's a ripoff. Maybe they're right. I haven't looked at the campaign. And if it is, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. You should never, ever rip people off. It's okay to upsell people on premium stuff. Like if the Berserker trades they were selling through the Kickstarter were Kickstarter limited editions or something like that they could only get that way, then you've now created a value add for the hardcore market. If you get Keanu Reeves to sign the books, you could probably charge like an extra 15 or 20 bucks per copy, and it would cost you nothing. You'd pay like Keanu Reeves like $5 or $5 for each one. You'd be like, Keanu, man, we're giving you X cut of money, and just sign these books for your adoring fans. And Keanu probably be like, that's cool. I love these people. He seems like that kind of guy. It's on your pull list. It's on my pull list. I'm pretty sure I X'd the X on the slip I got from Graham Crackers. So I'll be getting it. I'm not going to buy it on Kickstarter. But I definitely want to see it, man. I definitely want to see it. I'm going to change this up. I'm getting tired of seeing Batface looking at us. Hey, there we go. We got a cool little thing right there. There we go. That's better to look at. If you have creators who don't fulfill, or creators who are jerks about it, that's very bad. That hurts everybody. That hurts not just like them and their product. That hurts everybody that wants to use Kickstarter to raise money. I'm not specifically going to name anybody. Really, I'm not going to just name names here. I'm not going to say, boy, there's a creator out there who took my money so he could publish books at Walmart without giving me my comic book from Kickstarter, but there is a creator who did that. I'm totally not naming names right now. I'm not pointing anything out here. I just laid a cool looking comic book cover down. But there's a creator who did that. He took money like over 2 years ago at this point. Nobody has their books, but you can go buy it in stores. Who is ever going to trust him again? And what kind of damage does that do to everybody who wants to use Indiegogo or Kickstarter to raise money? That just makes crowdfunding look bad. You got to deliver, or if you can't, you got to do your best to apologize to people, be totally open. No hiding. There's no hiding. Be accountable. It's okay. There was that dude who was working on, what was that book? Detective Dead, I think. Critias, I think was his name. And he just basically went, look guys, I screwed up everything. And that, I could respect that. That's terrible that he did it. It's terrible he got into that position. But at least he fessed up. People who won't fess up make it worse for everybody. So there's a lot of dangers there. I think long term, publishers are going to have to move to that model of raising some money through crowdsourcing, through crowdfunding, by selling premium editions, limited edition covers. Like instead of doing a 1 in 100 ratio variant or whatever, so that only 2 people from Midtown Comics can get one. That's so stupid, by the way. You just put it on Kickstarter. Here's a $100 special edition, signed, graded, 9.6 guaranteed or better, or something like that for $120. There are people who go gaga for that kind of stuff. And they will pay the money. If they believe in the product, if they believe in the people who are making the product, if they're down with it, they will pay that money. And you can take that, it's almost all pure profit, and you can funnel that into your publishing your mass market print run, which then just becomes 100% pure profit. Whatever you make, sell into Diamond for $1.25 an issue on your $5 book, just becomes pure profit. So I think long term, we're going to see a lot of publishers do that, and it's going to come to a head. We're going to see Marvel or DC do it. Don't know which one. I don't know which one. We're going to see one of the big two do it. They're going to run a Kickstarter, and it's not going to work. Something is going to happen. And, you know, they may fulfill and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. Something won't work. Something will go bad in the process of it. And once it does, it's going to be like the 90s with Marvel buying Heroes World and just running distribution to the ground. It'll hurt everybody. You think it'll be DC? It might be DC. I'm not going to, like, place a bet on it. I know it's coming. DC logo Kickstarter, yeah, that could be pretty cool. Especially if they do something awesome like sell you figurines or statues or crazy Lobo merch, like a Logo cigar case or something. Like, imagine getting a Lobo humidor. Does that exist? If not, that should exist. But there's going to be something that goes wrong with it. There'll be a big hullabaloo, a lot of people will get angry, and it'll hurt everybody. It'll cast a bad light. Oh, look at this big publisher. Look at AT&T running a Kickstarter. You know, that's how it's going to come across. And it's going to kind of make the practice of crowdfunds in the comic book space look even more disreputable than crowdfunds already kind of feel. Because a lot of crowdfunds out there... Sorry, I'm going to cough. I apologize. Sorry about that. A lot of crowdfunds out there are still dealing with, you know, the aftermath of various crowdfunds that never, ever fulfilled, or they fulfilled badly. Just look at the drama constantly surrounding Star Citizen. How many other game Kickstarters have just died and withered on the vine? A lot. Kickstarters in kind of the game space have a very bad halo around them. A lot of campaigns still get made, they still get backed. Hopefully people are getting their books. I say hopefully, I don't know if they are or not. I don't back any of that stuff. I did back Star Citizen, and I'm pretty sure I have gotten my $40 worth of fun just from watching the drama of people arguing about Star Citizen. Which seems like a crazy thing to say, but it's also a true thing. But that space is very heavily tainted. There are other areas in Kickstarter and Indiegogo and Patreon and stuff where people are exploiting, are being exploitive. That's probably a better way to phrase it. When they don't need to be. And it's hurting the platforms, it's hurting the idea of crowdfunding. And when one of the big two does it, it's going to kick off like a storm. There's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, and at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of damage done to an industry that can't afford to be damaged anymore. Comic books, as much as I love them, are not a healthy industry. It's not a healthy line of work to be in full time. You look at like the average page rates that some of the publishers pay, it's abysmal. I remember seeing numbers from a couple years ago, you know, like an artist doing pencils on an Archie book was making like $25 a page. Something absolutely ludicrously low end like that. You can't even live on ramen for that much money. Or at least you can't if you're turning in good art. Heck, crowdfunds right now. There's, even in the comic book space, not just the one I was kind of making fun of by not naming names but showing it. You know, there's the ongoing saga of who owns the rights to that one crowdfund from a couple years ago, Brutus. It was supposed to be split 50-50. between the author and the artist. And then the author fell out of favor with a group. And the artist stayed in favor with the group. And so the artist then proceeded to try to screw over the writer by not paying him his half of the money. Usually it's the artist getting screwed over. This time it's the writer. That's all a mess. And there's a lot of back and forth on that particular topic. I'm just telling you what it looks like as somebody who just sees this stuff flare up like once a month on his timeline on Twitter. That's what it looks like to me. It's uncool. And that kind of stuff, you know, that's business life. But it also makes crowdfunds in general look bad. Like, okay, you were going to go, you know, halfsies, and now you're suddenly not. You know, just think how much better the comic book industry would be if the speculation bubble of the 90s hadn't happened. We'd have probably more stores, more distributors, maybe not more publishers. There's a whole lot of publishers out there. But I think the industry would have been in a better place than it actually is right now. It's a brutal industry. It chews people up and spits them out. I'm not sure why any artist really would choose to go into doing sequential art for comic books when they could instead go do commercial art and make more money designing like packaging for toys. Oh, speculators are everywhere, man. I'm gonna get in trouble if I keep going. Speculators ruin it. Like a perfect example. Let me get it out here. I couldn't get the first print of this. Why? Speculators bought them all. Fortunately, they did a second print like 2 weeks later, so I was able to pick it up and I can actually read it. But speculators bought all the first prints. Not me. Not like somebody who's just like, oh, I'm going to purchase one of these comics so I can read it and enjoy it. But somebody's like, oh man, I got to buy 15 of these and put them on eBay. It's the same problem like sporting events and concerts have, where you have scalpers going in and poaching all the tickets. And it's not healthy. An industry where you do that has a little too much scarcity. Absolutely has too much scarcity. Now, granted, you know, there are things where I got a couple comic books I plan on selling down the road that, man, I hope nobody hears this, that I bought specifically for the purpose of selling, you know, a year from now. Not because I'm speculating on it, but because I know that they're going to hold their price and probably go up a little. It's not like I'm going to flip it immediately, but people won't be able to buy this for forever. There weren't that many copies of these made. So maybe that makes me a scalper too. If it is, then I'm a hypocrite. And that's okay. Everybody's a little bit of a hypocrite. But I didn't buy it because some guy told me, oh, this is the first appearance of the Robin King. What? Who cares? If you look, like a lot of books get bought on that basis just because it's the first appearance of so-and-so. And it's like, I've never heard of this so-and-so. Who is it? Why does it matter? And they're just praying, they're hoping that this book they bought for $5.99 they can turn around and sell for like $80 in 2 weeks. That's not cool. At least the books I bought, like, they weren't brand new. It's not like I went and I bought books that were brand spanking new. I bought books that you couldn't just go get. Batwoman Beyond carries more weight than the Robin King? Okay, I mean, I heard the Robin King thing. Like, that was the big thing I heard in that book was, oh, the Robin King first appearance, Robin King first appearance. I heard that repeated like 20 times by people who were going gaga over it. And I'm just like, I just wanted to buy a copy so I could read it. So maybe I'm just whiny. That's a possibility. I fully accept that that is a possibility. There's too much speculation. I'm afraid stuff like that. And I don't mean like speculation is all bad. Like, there is utility to having people who will go buy that kind of stuff up and then resell it months down the road to make it available again. There's utility to that. Flipping it the same day on eBay is kind of a little bit of a different scheme, a little bit of a different boat to be in. Because, 3 months from now, if you want to get Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights, you're probably going to have to buy it off of eBay. It's not like, DC is going to keep it in print or something. That's not how comics work. They're periodicals. They don't stay in print. They get printed once, and then that's that. Maybe that's a problem with the comic market in general. Treating it like periodicals instead of treating it like the long-form stories that they want to be. Like, let's see. Here's a graphic novel. Like, comic writers seem to want to write for this. A graphic novel. 100 pages of comics, story, dialogue. But they're forced, many times, to publish it in this. Dude, that's awesome! I don't know what I open up. This is Inkblot, and it's got that. That is cool. And instead they're forced, kind of chained to do the 22 pages of story thing. And maybe we need to get away from floppies. I don't know. The trade market kind of crashed, too. So it's not in much better shape. See, Eli Easy. People spec on brand new characters when they should be speculating older characters that haven't had much use. Like all the milestone characters are finally getting their due. I heard that somewhere. I read that. Isn't it next spring? Isn't it next spring that they're supposed to relaunch some of the milestone characters? I know I read that. It's probably that one interview with Jim Lee. I don't remember for sure, but I know I saw it. And I think it was early next year. I think I'm starting to lose my voice, guys. So I think I need to just wrap this up here and go stop talking for a little while. You really love 60-page comics, you pay $9.99 for a comic that was $10 for 6 pages rather than $5 for 20 pages? Yeah! Me too! I am 100% on board with that, man. Where is... Three Jokers has apparently run away. I thought it was right here, but I don't see it now. I have no idea where Three Jokers went to. But that's a 48-page book, right? And it was $7. Square bound. Looks great. On board with it. Alright, Manny, Eli Easy, Scott K, and all the lurkers that have come in and hung around for a few minutes. I appreciate you being here. Remember to hit that like button and all that stuff. If you want more, be sure to subscribe. And I never ring the bell for notifications, but if you're the kind of person that does, I'd appreciate it. You all take care of yourselves. I'm going to go get some hot tea or something to drink so I can rest my throat, because apparently I have been talking too much. Who could have guessed? I guess I could have. So take care of yourselves.